Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Mifra and I am very excited to make this video to compare the pros and cons of virtual work versus in-person work. I had a fair share of both. It's my second month at Microsoft and it's all virtual, and I love making these videos because I can talk about my experiences from my first week, second week till now, and I honestly can't believe it's been 2 months already. So overall, I've had about a 1 year of in-person experience so far. So total from all my 3 internships prior to Microsoft, one was 8 months long, another one was 4 months, so 12 months long internships in person. So I think I have a good idea of what in-person work is like in the office. And so far at Microsoft in my internship last year, it was in the pandemic time, so it was all virtual, and my current full-time work is also virtual. So 6 months of virtual work experience. That is why I wanted to make a video comparing both my experiences and talking about the pros and cons. So the number one con of working virtually is that when you have a relatively, I hate saying dumb question, but relatively not so critical question to ask a team member, it's very difficult to get that motivation to ask because you feel like you're going to be wasting their time. I don't know if anybody else has felt this way, but if I have a question regarding a simple process on our CRM tool, I get very I feel bad asking my team members because I feel like it will be stopping their workflow to answer a very trivial question. So that's the number one con, and that's the one thing I miss about, I guess, office work, is that it was much easier just to ask people questions on an everyday basis. The second con of working virtually is networking. And networking has been a challenge in the virtual space because obviously when you're at the office, in my experience, you get to meet everyone either in the lunchrooms when you have lunch together, before work when you just get grabbing your coffee from the cafes, or just after work is over, you walk towards the subway together. And it's just a more organic experience networking with people and learning about their roles, or learning about their job experience so far. And networking was very important for me when I was in the office because I was wanting to transfer from the operations role at Paragon to business development, and the only way I learned about the business development role was through my lunches with the business development intern at that time, who explained their role to me amazingly and helped me out. So I guess networking to understand other people's roles and learning about the business on a larger scale is harder in a virtual space because the problem is you have to set up a meeting with the person you want to learn more about, check their calendar, see if you have time on your calendar, send the meeting invite, wait for them to respond if they are available, and it's a whole process. And I miss the organic conversations I used to have with people in the office space, and hopefully if offices do open up, that's something I look forward to the most. Third con about a virtual work experience is understanding people's body language. Now, my role is very much around technical sales and consulting with businesses, and also working with my team members and teams around the company about a certain project, a certain account, etc. And when you're talking back and forth with teams, it's very hard to understand people's body language and what they're trying to sometimes convey to you. And of course, that has gotten better over time because I've had the experience in my internship, but it's very difficult also over Teams, because we use Teams obviously, to understand what people are actually meaning when they say certain things. It might come off as harsher than it seems sometimes, and you sort of spiral into the thoughts of, wait, are they really upset by what I said? Are they confused? It's hard to tell, and it's even harder if they have their cameras off, because obviously in the virtual space right now, in the meetings, you can't ask someone to turn their camera on by your choice. It's if they want to, it's their personal preference. And when that scenario pops up, when the calls are completely just you hearing their voice, it's hard to tell what they're actually feeling and what they're actually thinking. So you have to make certain guesses about moving forward with the project, how to respond to them. I know I'm rambling with this situation, but you get the point. The point is, it's hard to tell people's body language, and that's a problem when you're in a role like me, when a lot of my work revolves around understanding people and their business and their objectives, and also collaborating with so many teams. The fourth con about virtual work is the lack of steps I get in per day. And that really hurts because when I used to go to in-person work at Paragon Testing Enterprises in Vancouver, or even Ontario Place in Toronto, I used to get on average 15,000 steps a day. And usually right now I try to hit 10,000 steps, and it's a personal goal of mine. There's no science behind you have to hit this many steps, but I personally like to hit that many steps and see the number on my health app that is 10,000. And when I was at university and UBC, it was very, very easy to hit that many steps because our campus is massive, and walking from one class to the other class took 15-20 minutes, and that usually was very simple to hit 10,000 steps or even more. So working virtually right now, I have to make an active effort to hit 10,000 steps. And honestly, it's been difficult because I only go to my gym right now at Good Life, which is very near my house. It's 1.5 kilometers and back, and that usually accumulates to 6,500 to 7,000 steps. So the other 3,000 steps, I have to just walk around the house sometimes, go for a random walk around the neighborhood, or go to the metro near my house as well, just to get those additional steps. And that problem was never there during in-person work because it would be easy to meet your fitness goals in that sense. So I explained all the cons of virtual work, but there are plenty of pros. So I will talk about the pros right now. The number one pro of working in my house right now from my room was I get to be far more productive because my schedule is so flexible. I have blocks set out in my calendar every single day where I want to do certain work, and I love getting that done in my own time, in my own way. I usually wake up around 8:15 or 8:30 a.m. in the morning, despite me having meetings or not, and that's just my personal preference. But usually I've heard from my colleagues and other people working at the company is they only wake up when they have the meetings to attend in the morning, and they set their schedule around that. So they work a decent amount of time in the morning and they go to the gym or whatever, and they come back home and they're more productive in the evenings. And that is totally up to you when you want to work, and I absolutely love that. The second pro of virtual work is that I get a lot better sleep than I used to. Now let me explain. When I used to work at Paragon Testing Enterprises in 2018, I used to commute to work for an hour and 15 minutes every single day in the morning, and an hour and 15 minutes back. And that in itself was a problem. I need sleep to function. I know a lot of my friends, a lot of the people I work with right now can function on a very little sleep, but not me. I need to have minimum 6 hours of sleep to be able to be a functional human being. And some days at university, because some of my friends were working, some of my friends were not working, we had to work around their schedules too. So we used to sleep sometimes at 1:30 a.m. because we were watching a movie or something. And those days it was a pain to get up in the morning to commute an hour and 15 minutes to work. So I don't miss commuting to work, and that is one of the biggest pros of virtual work is my lack of commuting time, which allows me to get more sleep. So as I mentioned earlier, I can wake up 20 minutes before my meeting in the morning. I freshen up, I have my coffee, have my smoothie in the morning, and then I just start my day, and it's the best thing ever. I don't have to wake up 2 hours before my first meeting to get to my first meeting, and that has been a blessing. If my office is for Microsoft open up in downtown in CIBC Square in Union Station, which is amazing, that's very close to my house for the commute wise, because I get to only commute 30 minutes to just get there, and that's perfectly fine because I can just listen to like a couple of songs, a podcast maybe, and that's fine. But hour and 15 compared to 30 minutes is a blessing, so I would take that any day. But if I even had to skip on that half an hour to commute, I don't mind that, honestly. I love that fact. The last pro is that you could take a lot of notes during meetings, and it doesn't have to be awkward or distracting to the person talking, because I have gotten this keyboard which I absolutely love. It's this Logitech keyboard, MX keys. Oh my god, it looks a bit dirty because I've been using it constantly every single day, 24 hours a day it seems. But I absolutely love this keyboard, and it made my typing speed so fast that I can type without even thinking, and I don't make mistakes anymore. I'm gonna make a whole rant video about the butterfly keyboard from Mac. That's my personal keyboard, my personal computer right now, and it's the worst because I made so many errors while typing on this, and it made me lose my confidence in typing without looking at the keyboard. So right now when I type on my MacBook, I'm just like, I constantly look down because I make so many mistakes. And with my Logitech keyboard, I don't make mistakes anymore. And I have two screens. So in one screen, I have my OneNote on, and in the other screen, I have my meeting on. So I can just type without looking down or looking at away from the camera at all without any mistakes. And that's been fantastic. And I love the flexibility of learning a lot more because I get to be more, I could take those notes and look back on that, and then of course adjust my next meetings with my customers or with my manager based on those notes. So that has been a life changer for me. So I used to have a notebook like this, and I used to just write notes while the person was talking. Usually you want to be engaging with the customer or the person on your team, right? I used to have a hard time looking at the person who's talking to me and taking notes at the same time. So I would try and not look at my writing when I'm taking the notes, and look at the person and engage with them with eye contact or proper body language you want to be an engaging person. And it was extremely hard. And when I looked down at my notes, I did not understand a single thing I wrote. I'm not kidding. There have been so many times I spent like just looking at my notes to figure out what I actually wrote down, and it was a complete waste of time for the meeting because I wasn't able to understand what I wrote in the first place. So there was no point taking the notes in the first place. So that was super frustrating. But right now my notes are so organized. It's all because, I'm just kidding, but it's all because primarily my amazing keyboard. I want to make a review video about this actually. If you want to learn more about the Logitech keyboard, then please let me know. Long story short, I went on a whole tangent there, but long story short, I love taking notes on my meetings and my customers and learning more about them and learning about the businesses. So taking notes has been fantastic in a virtual space because you don't distract the customer, you don't distract your team members. Your notes actually make sense. You can go back and make edits to it, and I don't have to go through my terrible handwriting to decode what I actually wrote during meetings. So it works out perfectly. So yeah, that's my pros and cons of virtual work versus in-person work. I want to make a separate video about my onboarding experience virtually. I mean, it's the first time ever the world has experienced something like this, where we have to work completely virtually for so long. And by working in person, I never thought I would have to work in a virtual space in my life ever. And onboarding completely virtually during my internship and then onboarding virtually for my full-time job has been a very, very interesting experience. If you are interested to learn more about that, I'd love to hear your feedback. And in general, if you like these videos, then please like and subscribe, and tell me how you feel. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I really love some of the messages you guys have been sending me on LinkedIn about how you've been enjoying these videos and you're learning about my work and my life. And if you want to learn more, if you have any suggestions for me, please comment down below. I'll be happy to make a video about that and answer your questions.